Should I modernize my AK for night vision?
Yeah, rifle is fine.
Okay, rifle's fine. Seriously, how am I gonna go do goon stuff with my friends?
Tape flashlight onto rifle like real man.
Okay, well, what about my IR illuminator?
Say no more. I illuminate target.
Seems legit, but I'm just gonna try this other thing first. Welcome to Spec Ops Gear. I've put over 10,000 rounds through the Zastava M92 short-barreled AK47. I'll have a link to my long-term review at the end of the video. Over the years, I've really grown to love this rifle. Other than a muzzle device, optic, and a stock, I've left the rifle alone, and I've just enjoyed shooting it. While I still love this rifle, and I don't want to sell it, I must admit that at times I'd get a little bit bored with it. I held off making changes because I really like the look and the feel of the wood furniture. I don't like the aesthetic of NATO-style buffer tubes and AR pattern stocks on AKs. And confession time. When I first came of age, we were still under the Clinton-era assault weapon ban, so all I could get was an SKS, which I ended up bubba-ing with cheap accessories that people would order out of magazines. And unfortunately, that's just the sad state that the gun culture was in the early 2000s. A few months later, I realized that bastardizing an SKS would only make it even worse, and I went over to the "Yet, rifle is fine" camp. The problem is that rifle is fine won't let you effectively run an AK-47 under night vision, so I decided it was just time to modernize my M92. So what's it like to shoot? In its current condition as a modernized AK, this rifle is fast and effective day or night. Well, it is a bit heavy. The short barrel and the compact overall length keep the weight close to the shooter, so you feel the weight a bit less. With the gas adjusted properly, recoil is minimal, and follow-up shots are a breeze. Being an AK, the gun feels rugged and capable in all weather conditions. On recent night shooting events, everyone's surprised to see an AK do so well under night vision. So that's kind of fun. The short overall length, the folding stock, and the heavy 7.62 projectiles make it a solid choice for many WROL scenarios, specifically those involving night and closed spaces and getting in and out of vehicles or other confined areas. When we look at the world getting spicier and nighttime happening every night, the need for a short-barreled suppressed AK with night fighting capability does become undeniable. So let's talk about the build. Sure, if I just wanted to add a flashlight and an aim point micro, I could have just gotten away with an Ultimac rail. But to mount a white light, pressure switch, IR laser and illuminator, and an optic, I really needed to get something more substantial. I ended up going with the Midwest Industries 4-end because it seemed like a good balance of quality and value. I chose a quad rail instead of M-LOK because it was on sale, and due to limited rail space, I would have ended up covering up all of the M-LOK sections in Picatinny rail anyway. Being a night fighting rifle, I wanted to have both passive aiming and active IR aiming options for the build. For those unfamiliar, night vision goggles allow you to see infrared light, which is normally invisible to humans and animals. Active aiming under night vision means using an infrared laser illuminator that is visible through your goggles but is invisible to everyone else. Active aiming is the fastest and easy way to shoot a gun with night vision, but The big problem is, with active aiming, if anyone else has night vision, those people will also be able to see you. For this reason, passive aiming has gained in popularity. Passive aiming is when you look through your NVG and then through a red dot or holographic sight to aim. Passive aiming is more sneaky because your gun won't look like a Jedi lightsaber, but looking through NVG into another optic is much slower and more difficult from cover and in awkward shooting angles, so there's always trade-offs. For this build, my active aiming device here is the Holosun LS321 mated to a Surefire dual pressure pad. Night vision narrows down your field of view and close-by objects are out of focus. This lowers your situational awareness and makes shooting and moving slower and more difficult, especially in confined spaces. For this reason, it's not uncommon for door kickers and badasses, of which I am neither, to switch to a normal visible white light flashlight in enclosed spaces. Running a gun with an Eotech or aim point and a white light flashlight is fast and intuitive, but be aware that on a two-way range, your light will give away your position. For this reason, I like momentary only remote switches so that lights don't accidentally get left on for a fraction of a second more than necessary. My white light for this build is a Streamlight ProTac using a TREX arms forward mount. The Streamlight ProTac light is decent, but the stock Streamlight pressure pad stinks. So I solved it with an Arisaka adapter so it's compatible with Surefire switches. My favorite optic for passive aiming is the Eotech EXPS3 series, but the Aimpoint Micro is also a decent choice too. During the daylight, the Eotech is fast and easy to shoot, but if I wasn't running this with nods, I'd prefer an Aimpoint Micro on a low mount. However, when running NVG, you need the optic up higher to get a clean sight picture, so the Eotech is a clear winner. For the suppressor, I'm running a Silencerco Omega paired with the K&S Precision adjustable gas piston. The K&S gas piston is probably one of the best single AK upgrades you can get. The best part is that your rifle still appears stock while having greatly reduced recoil and gas pressure. It's almost a must-have if you're going to run a suppressor. And the other option is you could also just simply cut out and notch a section of your gas piston, but that's a one-way ticket and the K&S is pretty reasonably priced. So now it's time to roast my rifle. I love this rifle and the Night Fighter build has been a lot of fun, but there's still some things that I don't like about it. 1. Like all NVG capable rifles, it's heavy. Being an AK, it's even a bit heavier than a similar AR-15 setup as a Night Fighter. 2. The ace folder length of pull is perfect for body armor, but the big hinge sometimes pops you in the mouth if you're trying to get a cheek weld and you're not careful. This is a lot less of an issue with the tall Eotech mount and the K&S adjustable gas piston, but it's still worth mentioning. 3. The Midwest Industries rail came loose once, even though I had put Loctite on it. The answer was to put more Loctite on it and tighten it down to what I'd consider unreasonably tight, and now it's holding just fine. 4. Even with the silencer, there's still a lot more muzzle flash than I'd like. But I do now have a batch of MaxTech Vimple ammo that flashes a lot less than the ammo that I used to film with, so try a few different types of ammo and find one with less of a muzzle flash, and that'll help you out a lot using the AK at night with a silencer. In summary, an NVG capable short boy AK47 with a can is a great bit of kit if you've got the coin. This has been a really fun project, and I'm really having a lot of fun with my M92-PAP again. It's on its way to regaining its status as my favorite rifle in the safe. This has been a lot of fun, and thanks for listening. Bye.